Yo, what's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday, November 21st, 2023, and welcome to a Thanksgiving week edition of what we like to call the Clash of Le Champions. I'm your host, the vegan you believe in, Kurt Cadet, aka Conscious Kurt in the flesh as always, and my co host needs no introduction, but fuck it, he's gonna give y'all one anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is tag team partner none other than Jonathan Randall himself, the Avenger himself, at your guys' service. You can follow our podcasts on both of our social media platforms, on Instagram at thechamps.clash and on Twitter at thechampsclash. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, we're excited. It's November. I can't wait for Thanksgiving. I can't wait for Survivor Series.
Yes, Survivor Series is this coming Saturday from Chicago, and it will feature both a men's and a women's WarGames match. And since the last time we spoke to you guys 2 weeks ago, we found out what the women's WarGames match is going to be. As several weeks ago on SmackDown, it was a tag match with Damage Control featuring Kairi Sane against Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte. And as Bianca was trying to make the tag to Asuka, Asuka pulled her hand away and sprayed the green mist in her face, signaling the fact that she had now joined Damage Control and she's officially a part of their crew.
Wow. And you kind of predict that Damage Control is going to get a little bit bigger.
I predicted that the women's War Games match was going to be centered around SmackDown. I did not predict that Asuka was going to join, though.
Right.
I didn't predict Asuka joining Damage Control, especially the way they did it at that, but I can't say I'm mad at the move.
I'm not mad at it either. I like it.
This past Friday on SmackDown, it opened up with the new Damage Control, and it was crazy. Bailey was talking about the fact that it was now the new improved Damage Control, and right after she said that, Io, Kairi, and Asuka were all speaking Japanese to each other, and like Bailey was like standing there looking all confused. And basically, Dakota Kai translated for her, saying this isn't the new and improved Damage Control because one of the girls in the ring right now is not a part of Damage Control. So like Bailey had that like weird look on her face, like oh shit, what the fuck's gonna happen now? But then come to find out, Dakota Kai clarified, saying that that's because Asuka's not officially in the group yet. You haven't officially anointed her as a part of the group. So Bailey's like, yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Right as she's about to give her the shirt, she actually tells the kid to shut up, saying, hey, shut up, kid, this is an important moment. And then she gives Asuka the shirt, officially anointing her into Damage Control and saying that she's going to get them both on the shirts, her and Kairi eventually. And then they also did, after that challenge, Shotzi, Charlotte, and Bianca and a partner of their choosing to War Games. And they had until the end of the night to pick a fourth person. And after trying to talk to Mia Yim and Zelina Vega, who were both attacked by Damage Control throughout the night, the fourth person who ended up joining the team with Charlotte, Bianca, and Shotzi at the end of the show was Raw's Becky Lynch. She came out from the crowd to join the three of them at the end of the show as they fought off Damage Control. It was a huge brawl to end the show and all this crazy stuff. And it's so crazy. Like right before they were about to go out, Charlotte, they were like trying to find a fourth person. They were having a hard time. And then Bianca was like, yo, Charlotte, I don't think you have a choice. I think you need to call that one person. And then it ended up being Becky. But the one question I have to ask is, how the fuck did Becky get there so fast?
Probably teleported, I guess, but
Some AI shit.
right.
I mean, look, I don't really mind the move of having Becky on the team per se, but it is weird considering she's a girl from Raw and she's not on SmackDown. So, like, yeah, why are they randomly putting her in this match? But I guess it's star power. I guess that's probably what it's coming down to.
It could be that because you just said because like it's mostly revolves around the women from SmackDown. So to that point, I mean, you do have a point. Like it is a bit weird how like why are you having somebody from Raw involved in a match like that? But I think you're right. It goes back to having star power. I mean, like who else? I mean, outside of Becky Lynch, I mean, who will be like another SmackDown women's wrestler you put in there? You know?
That's the thing. There's really nobody else. Even
Right.
Shotzi feels like a bit of a stretch, and Mia Yim and Zelina are great, but no offense to them, they don't really have that same star power that Becky has.
True though, and then also you got to look at the fact that look, I love Mia Yim. It just she really hasn't really been put in a position to in these type of position as the other women it has.
And also, Shotzi had issues with damage control a few months ago, so it makes sense for her to be on the team in that regard.
Right.
But in a way, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of feels like a recycled story from last year where Becky ended up being the final member of the women's babyface team, like at the last minute. So yeah, it feels like the exact same thing kind of as last year. Anna was also against damage control.
Right. Hmm. Interesting. We got to see what's going to happen. But look, I like what I'm seeing. Um, like I said, I like the lineup for both of these teams, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a fun brawl. They even got into it on Raw last night after Becky defeated Xia Li. The Damage Control girls came from the crowd and attacked Becky, but then Charlotte, Bianca, and Shotzi came out to assist Becky, and then they all brawled afterwards, and they were all separated, and yeah, it was a whole crazy thing.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta build that up for the match, and just the whole card in general has been building up. One of them has been selling they just been doing a good job on selling this match. Is the Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Miz. My God, just after looking at the promo, the segment between Gunther and Miz, damn, they're selling this, man, hard, and they're doing a damn good job.
Yeah, when Gunther spit that line at Miz saying that the reason why you were a fan of wrestling so much is because you used to get bullied and then you tried to become a wrestler. And then when you became a wrestler, you got bullied by the other wrestlers because they knew you didn't belong here. And you still don't belong here.
Right, just they make it personal. They make it a personal story, and that's pretty much what you have to do sometimes in wrestling storylines. And I love it. And like I said in our last episode, I talked about how Miz was that measuring stick for that championship because Miz did a really good job with that belt about a few years ago. And now Gunther has really elevated it now. So the fact that these two are coming together for that title, I love it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this match a lot more than I was 2 weeks ago. I think definitely, especially after last night's segment, they are going to deliver. And we'll get into that prediction in a few minutes.
Yes.
But the main story that came out of Raw last night was the announcement of the final member of Cody Rhodes' team. As initially it was supposed to be a 4-on-4 match with Cody, Seth, Rollins, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso against all four members of Judgment Day. But then last week on Raw, Drew McIntyre actually cost Jey Uso and Cody the tag titles against Judgment Day. And basically, after the match was over and the show was about to go off the air, you could see him and Rhea Ripley shaking hands and nodding at each other. And then he came out to do a promo at the beginning of Raw last night, talking about how the bloodline ruined his chance to, have a great moment with his family at Clash of the Castle. They took that away from him, and he'll never let it go, and he wants payback. And Judgment Day, while he's not a member of Judgment Day officially, he said that Rhea Ripley gave him what he wanted that no one else could, and that was Jey Uso in a cage.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I was a little bit confused about that. I was like, wait a minute, you're joining the team, but you're saying you're not a part of Judgment Day, but you kind of but just about Jey Uso, so I get it. Makes sense. But yeah, that was weird though to see that though. But yeah, Drew McIntyre is on the team with Judgment Day, so at that point it looked like it was just 5-on-4, but which means that Cody Rhodes' team needed to pick a fifth member, and that decision was already made towards the end of the show.
So Drew McIntyre basically announced that he was the fifth person on Judgment Day's team. And then this led to Jey Uso coming out, and then the rest of Judgment Day coming out, and then Rollins, Sami Zayn, and Cody coming out to back up Jey Uso. But then Adam Pearce got into the middle of it and said, "Stop, we're not doing this. If any of you guys lay a finger on each other, you lose the man's advantage at WarGames." So, but he made a match for later on that night between one person from each team, and whichever person won would get the man's advantage in WarGames. So Judgment Day picked Drew McIntyre, and the babyface team picked Jey Uso. So they fought in the main event, and Drew McIntyre ended up winning the match, which I kind of predicted. I figured the bad guys would probably get the advantage. And then this led to a brawl after the match was over between both teams. And then as Cody's team chased Judgment Day away, Cody did make the announcement about the fifth member of the team. And the one thing he said specifically is that the fifth member of the team is somebody that he has a legacy with.
Oh wow, a riddle. But you all know who that was, though. It was very simple.
Yeah, and the fans were chanting Randy, 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 and then Cody just said after that, those aren't voices in your head, those are real. And then that's when the show went off the air.
Oh yeah, we already know who that is. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Randy Orton is that fifth member, and it was not. It wasn't a surprise to me. All right, I knew that it was going to happen. Um, I think that really puts that CM Punk coming back, return really to rest. I literally had a friend of mine, had Danny, really ask me, "You really think CM Punk is going to come back?" I'm like, "No, dude. I would not think about that too deeply. I literally put that to rest. I had a deep feeling that Randy Orton was going to come back, so I'm very happy for him. I'm going to be honest with you. I really thought that he wasn't going to come back at all. I thought like he was done because how severe his injury was. You know what I mean? But when I think about Randy Orton's return, I think about like the other returns in the history of Survivor Series. I think about John Cena coming back at 2008, which was, and I get it that like nobody cares about that event as a whole, but he made his return at that night. I think about Undertaker making his return, in '95. So this is somewhat similar. Orton coming back. Oh, cherry on the top. I love it. Can't wait for it.
And I think it's even bigger than those returns because of how long he's been out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And also for the fact that like you probably did not expect him to
Right.
come back because of how bad the injury was. So Saturday for Randy Orton specifically, it is going to be a big deal.
Very big deal.
And I like the fact that they didn't really give it away. Like they didn't even mention his name, but you already knew that it was him.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I also like the fact that he didn't come out. So like when he comes out on Saturday, it's going to be fucking huge.
Oh, absolutely. And again, just keep it mysterious. But back in your mind, you already know who. But it's that was better that they didn't have him come out. There was a part of me that felt like he's gonna come out though, but no, they didn't do that, which was good. Wait, save it for Saturday.
Yeah, part of me thought it might have been maybe Kevin Owens or LA Knight, but I am more than happy with this decision. 100%.
Yes.
Mr. Survivor Series is back.
Yes. In my opinion, the best he is the best guy for that event. Like if I had my own Survivor Series team, he's my first pick.
Here's how it goes John Cena is Mr. Royal Rumble. Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania. Bret Hart's Mr. SummerSlam. And Randy Orton's Mr. Survivor Series.
Why have you picked John Cena for Royal Rumble? Just curious.
You know how many classic matches he's had at the Royal Rumble, and also he's won two of them at that.
Yeah, I go back to 2007 against Umaga. You
2017
know,
against AJ Styles.
yeah,
Oh, the triple threat from 2015. How the fuck can I forget?
yeah. Even though he lost that match, though, but that was a very good match, though. Yeah,
All right, but back to Survivor Series. So yeah, that bit. So basically, we have both teams set. We have the whole card for Survivor Series set. So let's get into our predictions real fast for this Saturday show. Only the fourth Survivor Series to take place after Thanksgiving too.
we said fourth.
Yeah, only the fourth. 2005, 2006, last year, and this year.
Wow, this is crazy. I would love to see how it would have been like back then. To have survived. To watch Survivor Series on the day of Thanksgiving or like the eve of Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
It would be a weird vibe. I remember the first four being on Thanksgiving night, and yeah, that would have definitely been different.
Yeah,
It's crazy. This whole event was basically built on Vince trying to squash Jim Crockett, if you remember the story of the original Survivor Series from '87. So crazy it goes from that to 36 years later, and it became like their second longest pay per view.
crazy. I remember at one point Vince had wanted to
Discontinuing.
cancel it. I was pissed about that. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like in 2010.
Yeah,
No wonder why we both stopped watching during those years.
right. Like, don't discontinue that, man. Come on, it's a tradition. But anyway, I'm just glad it's still going on. It's in my birthday month, and that's something I'm proud of. So,
Yeah, and the war game situation. I'm sorry, and the war game stipulation has definitely breathed new life into it. It was really
yeah,
starting to get stale for a few years with the whole Raw versus SmackDown bullshit, but bringing in the WarGames matches for it has been fucking top notch.
I agree.
So let's break down this motherfucking card for you guys. So for the women's WarGames match, we have on one side you have Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi, and on another side you have Damage Control consisting of Bayley, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. Who do you think is gonna win?
Oh, man, they just formed like Damage Control, like just upgraded it now. And I just feel like if they win this match, they will put more heat on them, get just, the crowd, like the fans will just take them a little bit more seriously. It's a part of me wants to choose them in a sense, but I'm gonna have to go with Team Bianca.
I'm going to have to disagree. I think Team Damage Control wins because they did lose the match last year, and they like just kind of got revamped
Yeah,
with Kairi Sane being added to it, and also Asuka being added to it.
yeah,
So I think with that momentum they have going on right now, they pick up the win in this match.
okay. I mean, I was tugging at it, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen. So,
Yeah, I think that Team Damage Control wins, and it's only a matter of time until they kick out Bayley.
ooh,
Because that segment they had on SmackDown on Friday, that brief second when they kind of teased the fact that she wasn't a part of the crew anymore, I know that's going to be leading up to something else later on.
right.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. Yeah, they're going to kick her ass out before the end of the year, I think. Before the end of the year.
Wow.
And we could maybe get Io and Bayley at WrestleMania next year.
Yeah,
I fucks with that.
same here.
Yeah, that could happen. And also, I could see some dissension on Becky, Charlotte, and Bianca's team. I could see definitely some issues maybe between Bianca and Charlotte going down.
We're gonna have to watch out on that because that may cost them the match. So
That, and it's also funny to see Becky and Charlotte on the same team again. I guess maybe they squashed their issues they were having a few years ago, and now they're kind of cool.
that is weird. It's been a while since they crossed paths with each other. I'll never forget that. I remember they were beefing with each other at one point.
Yeah, because they used to be best friends years ago, and then they had a falling out. And then
Yeah.
we know that infamous incident that happened on SmackDown 2 years ago with the belt swap and all that, and they got into like a argument backstage
Oh wow.
afterwards.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, and even in interviews, they both said that like, "Yo, we're not cool anymore. Like, we could maybe be friends again down the road, but for right now, we're just not vibing with each other." And maybe they have mended fences since then.
Dang. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching a list like ranking the 10 best Survivor Series opening matches, and they ranked the Becky and Charlotte match from 2 years ago as number one.
Hmm. 2021, right?
Yeah, it was a good ass match.
Wow. Oh yeah, but we gotta get back on this card though. We get distracted. But on our to our next match on the card, ladies and gentlemen, we have Carlito versus Santos Escobar, who had turned heel, ladies and gentlemen, recently. Wasn't surprised about the move. I kind of knew, after Crown Jewel between Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul for the U.S. title, that Santos Escobar, with his involvement in the match, that he was going to turn heel, and he did. So Carlito versus Santos Escobar. I'm really happy that Carlito's on a card with him coming back. But with Santos Escobar just now turning heel, you want to make a statement to everybody else on how serious you can be. So I'm picking Santos Escobar to win the match.
Yeah, a little backstory to Santos Escobar's heel turn. After Crown Jewel, the SmackDown after, Carlito called out Santos Escobar for costing Rey the title and for what he did in that match. And then as Carlito was being beaten down by Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits after the match between Lashley and Carlito that night, Santos Escobar just let him get beat up and didn't try to save him. And then Rey Mysterio and the LWO came out to assist Carlito, and then this led to Rey getting into Escobar's face about not helping Carlito, and this ultimately led to Santos Escobar attacking Rey, and then as Rey's leg was trapped between the post and the steel steps, Escobar kicked the steel steps into Rey's leg, And that pretty much solidified his heel turn. And come to find out afterwards, Rey Mysterio legitimately had a torn meniscus and he had an operation for it, and he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So
Yikes.
they probably weren't going to do this turn so soon, but the fact that he was hurt was probably the reason why they rushed it so fast. So that's why Santos Escobar is now a heel. I did like his promo on SmackDown on Friday. He was saying some really fucking evil shit, talking about how he hopes Rey Mysterio gets an infection and he dies.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, but the promo was good though. He was very believable. I like the whole Tony Montana suit he was wearing. Yo, that shit was looking mad dope.
Okay, okay. Gotta change your character, man. Make it serious, and he will make himself more serious when he wins. So, no offense to Carlito though, but when you turn heel, you gotta make your statement. Your first statement says everything, man.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win also. Yeah, because he just made the turn, and I think eventually he may get some of those LWO dudes to turn on Ray also and align with him.
Oh boy.
I could definitely see that happening.
Oh man.
So it looks like we're more than likely gonna get Ray and Santos Escobar at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, but that's still a long time away. So let's shift
All right.
gears to our next match. For the Intercontinental title, we have the Ring General, Gunther, defending his title against The Miz.
Yes. I this it's this match behind the War Games main event, the men's War Games that I'm looking forward to. I love the build. They just sold the crap out of this match. You know what I mean? They didn't have to, but they did because of the importance of the title and how Gunther has been carrying the title. I just love it, and I just love how they made it really personal. It's going to be a great match, but Gunther is going to retain the title though.
Damn right he's going to retain that title. He is not losing that title until Chad Gable beats him.
Right.
So yeah, Gunther retains. I think the match will still be fun. It's going to be interesting to see what they pull off considering their contrast styles. But if I wasn't looking forward to this match before, I am definitely looking forward to it now after that segment last night.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, so Gunther will retain. So shifting gears to the women's world title match, we have Rhea Ripley defending against Zoe Stark.
Not really. I didn't really see anything written as far as like a story build up to this match. Um,
No shit.
right, because she's been so busy with the Judgment Day stuff and involvement, man, and like I haven't really been seeing like a whole lot. I kind of wish I would have saw. I wish I would have seen somebody else in this match other than Zoe. Like nothing against Zoe Stark, but it is what it is. But Rhea Ripley is going to retain.
I agree also. No offense to Zoe Stark. She's great, but I do not see her under any circumstances beating Rhea on Saturday.
No,
It's not
no.
happening. And bro, regardless of whether they put Zoe in this spot or Raquel Rodriguez in this spot again, they just don't have like the proper feuds for Rhea. Like she doesn't have good feuds, good rivalries.
It's the fact that they're not building it up like how like they're not selling it how they are with Gunther and Miz. You know what I mean? You got to like sell it. Get me to,
Yeah, that's true.
you know,
That's what I mean.
you gotta do that. They're not doing that with Rhea Ripley and Zoe Stark. If they did it with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez and you sell that to me, that's a you know what I mean? But at the same time, like Raquel Rodriguez stands out. Like if they did Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, that really appeals to me more. But you got to sell it. Really got to sell it.
I don't see her losing that title until probably WrestleMania next
Yeah.
year. And I think the opponent for her at WrestleMania next year is going to be Becky,
Okay.
whose book actually comes out like during that time too.
Oh, she written a book.
Yeah, I hope her writing skills are better for that book than her skills were for answering the questions on Jeopardy last week.
Oh my God! I saw poor Becky. Oh, my God, that was the first time this ever happened, right?
Yeah, it said it was the first time ever that somebody got 0 questions right out of 60.
Oh, 60? My
Yeah.
God. Wow.
Whatever, just Jeopardy's not her thing.
Yeah, it's whatever though, but man, it's crazy though. But yeah, so yeah, Rhea Ripley retains, and on to our next match. Is it? there's only gonna be 5 matches. No more matches is gonna be added. No.
No, as far as I know, unless they add something on SmackDown on Friday, no, this is it. So the last match we're going to be talking about is the men's War Games match, which is looking even better now than it did a week ago. So we have on one
Yes.
side Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and the returning Randy Orton against the other side of Judgment Day, consisting of Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and honorary Judgment Day member for the night, Drew McIntyre.
Honorary member. Yeah. Crazy. It will be 3 years. It's been 3 years since Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton really gotten face to face with each other. He posted a story. Oh no, he posted a photo on his Instagram account saying, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." Do you remember what happened 3 years ago? That memorable feud that they had.
Of course I do.
Yes, loved it. I can't wait for that interaction between the two on this Saturday. But with Randy Orton returning, and with Cody Rhodes in his father's own match that his father created, there's no way in hell they're going to lose this match. Cody Rhodes' team is going to win.
I have to say, this is probably one of the most stacked babyface teams I've ever seen for a War Games match. Cody, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, who's the champion, and Randy Orton. Holy shit, son.
I'm going to be surprised with you. I was somewhat surprised that Seth Rollins was on the team.
I'm not really. I thought maybe Kevin Owens would have been initially before he went to SmackDown, but whatever. I like this.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Seth Rollins is on the team. He's the champion, but he's not the captain.
Because he's the champion. And usually, whether if it's a War Games match or not, whenever you have like a Survivor Series, elimination match, whoever's like, you're the world champion, usually you are the leader. You know what I mean?
The only year I remember where that didn't happen for some strange reason was 2016 for the women's SmackDown team.
Ah,
Becky was the champion at the time, but Nikki Bella was the captain.
wow. Crazy. Yeah, dude. Usually the champion is the leader. I remember forget like 2005 how they were Team SmackDown was all arguing about who should be the team captain. Batista was the champion, so he's like, I'm the captain. So enough said. You know what I mean? So wow.
But whatever. This match should be a lot of fun,
Oh yeah.
especially with Randy Orton coming back.
Hell yeah.
That pop he's going to get is going to be fucking insane.
Yeah, and it's in Chicago too. Ooh,
Ooh, son.
wow.
And it's so crazy. Like WWE was such a different place the last time we saw Randy Orton wrestle. Ray and Dominic were still a team. Vince was still in charge. Sasha and Naomi had like just left. I think that same week.
Yep. Edge was still the leader of Judgment Day.
Yes, he was still the leader of Judgment Day. Cody hadn't torn his pec yet.
Yeah. Crazy, dude.
Yeah, such a different time. Yeah, it just feels like such a lifetime ago, and it's only been a year and a half. Fuck me.
Phew. Wow. But I'm glad he's coming.
I'm glad he's coming back too. It's been a long time coming, but I'm sure none of us are going to be happy that he's back as he will be.
Oh, I'm quite sure. That this is his life, man, and I know he worked really hard to get back in this position. You know what I mean? He just felt like him getting hurt was just a big sudden change that was so unexpected, and that's how life is, though. But like with that, he worked as hard as he can to get back in his position, regardless of what the doctors told him or anything like that. So he defied that, and look, he's coming back on Saturday. And I'm really happy to see that.
Yeah, another thing I like about Randy Orton is that he seems like he's grown up a lot compared to, 18 years ago, like during the Ruthless Aggression era.
Oh, of course, of course. We've been saying the same thing like a year ago. The fact, especially when he's really was tag teaming with Riddle, because he was mentoring him too. You know what I mean? He's being that leader. He has been somewhat of a locker room leader over the past, few years, I say. You know what I mean? So yeah, like we would be saying the same thing like, a year or 2 years ago. So there is a lot of growth and maturity in Randy. different Randy from 18 years ago, because I know all the stories about how in trouble he was and all that stuff, and how difficult he was back then.
Yeah, I would say he was probably the most toxic person in the locker room in the 2000s. Like each decade probably had its most toxic wrestler backstage. Like in the 80s, it was probably Dynamite Kid. In the 90s, it was
Oh
Shawn. In the 2000s, it was
yeah.
Randy. And in the 2010s, I guess you
Uh,
could say it was Punk.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, but yeah, he does seem like he's grown up, kind of like I was talking about on my hip hop podcast, like about Jeezy. Like if you really listen to Jeezy's interview, most recent interview with Nia Long, and also his new album, you're like, dude, this dude has changed so much.
Wow.
But I love it. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, bro. Like just to see like the way Jeezy speaks and the way Jeezy comes off, it's like, yo, I fucks with this dude. Like if I wasn't a fan of this dude before, I'm a fan of him now.
And he just got a divorce, correct?
He's like in the process of getting a divorce. Yeah, part of that interview was actually about the divorce, and also parts of the album too, because it's
Wow.
called "I Might Forgive, but I Don't Forget."
Interesting. Wow. Huh.
Yeah, shout out to Jeezy.
Good for him.
Yes, I do pick Cody's team to win, which will further his momentum going into next year and going into WrestleMania. It's kind of whack that Roman's not on the show, but whatever. With the card being what it is, I'm not complaining.
You know what? I I want to add something on that because I was thinking about this like a few days ago. And I wanted to ask you. It is a good thing you brought up Roman. A part of me feels that it would have been okay. Do you think they should have waited and did Roman versus LA Knight at Survivor Series instead of Crown Jewel, or you just have like another rematch for Survivor Series with a stipulation added that like, hey, you do a rematch of Survivor Series, but the Bloodline is banned from ringside.
I mean, maybe they could have done that. That would have been fine. But I feel
Yeah,
like this card is stacked enough where, like, I think they have more than enough for the show. And like I told you before, Triple H likes to keep these cards very light, like no more
yeah,
than
I
a certain
know.
amount of matches. And both of those War Games matches are going to take up an hour apiece.
True, true. And I mean, look, that was just my opinion. And the reason why I was saying that is because of the fact that how this year alone, just Roman has not been available. That's the only reason why that was on my mind.
Sting has wrestled as many times as he has this year.
What?
Yeah,
It looked like he wrestled more than him.
yeah. Sting's only wrestled total about 11 matches this year, and yeah, so and Roman too.
Wow. Well, you gotta remember, for Sting his age, though, you know what I mean? That's fine, but Roman's the champ, and he's younger. So, still.
I was actually hearing something recently. I read it online. I don't know how true it is. Another reason why Roman's schedule is so light now is because of the whole leukemia stuff.
Huh.
It could be.
True. Yeah.
Like, and look, I'm not complaining about him having a lighter schedule. That's fine, but he shouldn't be the champion for as long as he has been the champion with that kind of schedule.
That's exactly what I'm telling. That's exactly the point I'm trying to get to. If you're the champ, you gotta put in the time, man. If not, you should have no business being the champ.
Yeah, because they were comparing how many title defenses Roman has had in his run compared to the amount of title defenses Hogan had in his run in 84 to 88. And Hogan had like over 400 title defenses, and Roman's only had 54.
Sheesh.
And I told you a few episodes ago that this whole title reign has jumped the shark for me. Like,
Of course.
April 7th can't come soon enough.
Same here, dude. You know what? It was funny. I think a couple weeks ago, I was really kind of like I was like, I don't know. I was at work one night and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, my heart's tugging at me. Should I go to WrestleMania in Philly next year? It's not going to be fair because of like of the talent and what is bound to happen at WrestleMania next year. And it's kind of like, well, damn, I wish I kind of experienced that in person to see that, you know, and the fact it's in Philly, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to go too, and maybe I still will. Anything is possible.
True, true.
Shout out to Kevin Garnett. It's so crazy that like a year ago at War Games, like Jey Uso and Sami Zayn were having their little beef like during the match, and then by the end of it, like Jey Uso like trusted him now and like accepted him, and now 1 year later they're both on the same team again, and they're both like buddy buddy.
Right.
But there was a noticeable expression on Jey Uso's face when Cody announced Randy Orton as the fifth member of the team because
And I
when Randy Orton got injured storyline wise initially, it was the Judgment Day that put him out.
yeah, man. I saw that. Like everybody was talking about that. How the look on his face and all that stuff. I was kind of like, oh, that's a bit weird. I was like, all right, I gotta watch out for that now.
Not as much as Jey Uso needs to watch out because Randy Orton is the Viper.
True.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on Saturday, but it should be a dope show. Survivor Series weekend. I know it's like the one event of the big four that's treated the least special, but fuck it, it's still fun. It's still Thanksgiving week. It's still the holiday season. So we're going to get this popping this Saturday. I can't wait.
Same here.
This past Saturday, we had AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view at the Forum in Los Angeles, and it was a very memorable show for several reasons, as we had two new women's champions crowned, as Julia Hart won the TBS women's title in a triple threat match, and also Toni Storm with her Hollywood Marilyn Monroe gimmick, which she's been doing the last few months,
I love that. Love it.
won the AEW women's title from Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, I love this this new gimmick that Tony Storm's doing. I love it. This, and then when she comes out like to the ring, it's like black and white, right?
Yeah, basically. And when she won the title, the celebration was in black and white too.
Wow, love it.
And also, Adam Copeland had his very first AEW pay-per-view match as him, Sting, and Darby Allin defeated Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne.
And the thing about that match, Kurt, is how they all were matching.
Yeah, that was dope.
Edge had face paint on his face. Yeah, I thought, oh, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that was, everybody was wearing black and white, and that was very interesting to see that.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
they didn't really have Adam Copeland and Christian interact too much. They're gonna really be saving it. Although they shouldn't have had Adam Copeland spear him a few weeks ago. They should have saved that for some other time. But whatever.
Yeah. I see. They're just trying to let it simmer, and it'll explode later on between the two. So yeah.
Simma. And in what some people are saying is the match of the year, Swerve Strickland defeated Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match by literally hanging him.
Yeah, no pun intended. But before I even get into that match, I saw the segment between the two the week before. My God. My jaw dropped when I watched that promo. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, of course. Like where, Hangman was talking about how Swerve like broke into his house.
Yeah, and he attacked Page, attacked Swerve Strickland personally. I was just like, holy crap! Just went on and on and on, but I loved it, and I was just like, holy crap! So then, when I'm seeing clips and photos of the match itself, my jaw dropped. Just the brutality of that match. I was just like, damn. Like, what spot was more brutal? Like, it was just, jeez, dude. Wow. Literally, figuratively, they beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, they've had a great few these last few months. It's been one of the better parts of the show. And I wasn't sure if Swerve Strickland was going to beat Adam Page at 2 straight pay-per-views. Yeah, but what the fuck do you know? He pulled it off. And, the highlights I saw of this match are fucking nuts.
I'm telling you, dude. It was like every spot was just like, holy crap, dude. Like, one after the other, dude. Like,
I think there was this one spot where Swerve Strickland did a Death Valley driver to Adam Page on the apron on top of a center block.
Yeah.
Fuck me, son. Ooh. Fuck me.
Texas death match. It just sounds scary.
Anything with the name Texas in it, you got to be kind of like, sketchy of.
Really? Texas Chainsaw Massacre? What else?
Texas Margaritas.
Texas Margaritas? I never heard of that.
I want to say I have before. I want to say that I have.
I mean, well, damn, the Texas Rangers, we were sketchy, but what they won the World Series this year. I mean, come on.
Texas Rattlesnake.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah, but Swerve Strickland basically won the match by choking out Adam Page and then tying the chain like around the post and like pulling Adam Page's throat from it, and that's what ultimately led to him winning the match. But yo, star making performance for Swerve Strickland. I think this dude is on the way to get the title eventually.
The next one to feud with MJF, huh?
It could happen. To
Yeah,
be honest, they don't have a lot of black main eventers in AEW.
they
Or really
don't.
any.
No, I'm, I can't name one outside of him. No.
But it feels like now with Swerve Strickland, how far he's come, especially this year. Basically, Swerve Strickland in AEW has become what Keith Lee should have become.
Man. And yeah, I mean, I was gonna say him, you know what I mean, as far as being a main eventer, but they didn't really do anything with the guy. I feel so bad for him, man.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Even Swerve Strickland was talking about their feud they were having a while ago, how like it just got dropped randomly, and he just said like, "Yo, it's not his call."
Wow.
And in the main event, throughout the night they were doing this whole storyline where MJF's leg was injured after the match with the Guns earlier in the show. Because him and Samoa Joe won the match and retained the titles, but Samoa Joe just walked as MJF got attacked and he was taken to the hospital. And they were making it seem as if MJF wasn't going to be able to wrestle. And then Adam Cole on crutches came out saying that he was going to take his place.
What?
Yeah, some weird ass shit. So right as the match is about to start, like Adam Copeland's coming out on the crutches and everything, right as the match is about to start, MJF comes back to the arena after he hijacked the ambulance or something and then comes back to actually do the match with Jay White.
Weird.
Very weird. I agree. Very, very weird. But
You're on crutches. I'm gonna take your place. I'm like, what? So if you lose, that means I lose my title because of you.
yeah, but MJF
Right?
eventually, yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Wow.
Kind of reminds me of when the Twin Magic shit backfired on the Bellas once when Brie Bella pretended to be Nikki in a match for the championship and then Brie Bella ended up getting pinned.
Wow.
I mean, it got reversed afterwards, but still.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the full match, but from the reviews I heard, the match was excellent. The match made up for the weird-ass storyline throughout the night. And there was even one point that Adam Cole was going to possibly throw in the towel for MJF, but it did not happen. They kind of teased that a little bit.
Kind of like a Rocky IV thing. Throw the damn towel. Oh man.
Yeah, but ultimately MJF did retain after hitting Jay White with the Diamond Club ring, and MJF is still your champion. And as of that event, marking 1 year with the title. Congratulations to him.
So after this, we all know that okay. So Samoa Joe's obviously gonna feud with him after he told him like, look, I'm going after the world title, correct?
Yeah, so Samoa Joe's probably going to be the one to get the next title shot. And I could see maybe him and Swerve Strickland at the Revolution pay-per-view in March.
I see. Okay. Just pointing it out, see where we could go from here.
And apparently there's rumors going around that MJF actually has re-signed with AEW.
Really?
It's nothing official. It's nothing official, nothing etched in stone, but it's believed by people within WWE that he has re-signed with AEW, and there's not really been any talks between both sides either. So I guess in a sense that gives it away. And also, I don't think Tony Khan would have kept the title on him for a year and still keep it on him now if like there was a chance he was going to leave.
True.
Yeah, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. And MJF recently opened up in an interview about like why he thought people didn't like Hulk Hogan, and basically what he said was that he's a liar and he's a racist. That's why. He's like he gives him his flowers, like talking about like how he about how big he made wrestling and how big of a star he was and all that jazz, but that doesn't mean he's a good person.
That's a good point.
Never met Hogan. I mean, if I do meet him, cool. If I don't, cool. Never met him, but I have heard enough bad stories about him where it's hard to be as much of a fan of him as I was when I was a kid.
True, and you know, it was a couple days ago. You told me his son got arrested, and just I just feel bad for that whole entire family, man. But I don't know.
Yeah, it did come out on Saturday that Hulk Hogan's son was arrested for DUI. And he did post a picture earlier that night, like at his dad's bar, where like he was having like a bikini contest or something. And then a few hours later, the dude gets arrested.
Dang.
Yeah, it's not a good look. I remember that whole incident that happened all those years ago where he got into that nasty accident where the passenger in the car ended up being like a vegetable for the rest of his life.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad. That's why he went to jail for a while. And Hogan's son went to jail for like 8 months.
Damn.
And then there was that leaked audio of a phone call between Hogan and his son, like when Hogan's son was in jail, where Hogan's basically like trying to cheer him up and trying to make him feel better. But he was doing that by saying that maybe this is karma for that kid. Maybe he did a lot of bad things in his life. And what happened in that accident was, karma's way of coming back at him. Some weird shit like that, man. From a fucking kid who got turned into a vegetable because of his reckless driving.
Sheesh.
Yeah, like that's one of the reasons a lot of people just don't fuck with Hogan because of it's just some foul ass shit like that.
Like I said, man, I feel bad for that whole entire family, man. Ugh.
It wouldn't surprise me if some of them play like a role in their own issues.
Played a role in their own issues.
Yeah, it bees like that sometimes because like even with Sonny for an example, like you could say like yes, you could say maybe like Sonny went through traumatic experiences and bad experiences and whatnot that might have contributed to the way she turned out.
Right.
But at the same time, that does not excuse your behavior and the fact that she's had so many incidents and so many troubling situations she's been in over the years. She bears a lot of responsibility in that, considering how often it happened and how many times it happened.
I see what you mean. Hmm.
And even with the CM Punk situation, when you have that many falling outs with people and you leave so many different promotions on bad terms, it's not that all of it is your fault, but considering that it happens so often, you do bear some responsibility in that.
True. Anything you do, you bear responsibility in whatever responsibilities and actions that you do. Anything.
So that's why I say with the Hogan family, it wouldn't surprise me if they play a role in that.
Huh.
I mean, look at Hogan, who we just talked about for the last few minutes.
Right. Goodness gracious.
And speaking of other 80s wrestling legends, Gunther recently opened up about his thoughts about the Ultimate Warrior, and this is what the ring general had to say. Those are the real dark ages of the sport. He is a showman. He is not an athlete, not a professional wrestler. He's a showman. I don't think that's the first time we've heard that about Ultimate Warrior.
No, I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, like, look, it is sports entertainment after all. I mean, to the chagrin, I mean, that's pretty much how it was for some wrestlers from that, decade or generation. They were kind of like showmen as far as their size and their physique. And in a way, professional wrestling, you have to be like a showman to show yourself out to the crowd, to just get the crowd to like you. That's kind of like how it was back then.
Yeah, back in the Ultimate Warriors era, it was more about gimmicks and more about look and more about personality. And now in this era, like there is more of an emphasis on ring work, which I do like. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yes.
Ultimate Warrior was in a way a product of his era. A lot of people, even Hogan included, would constantly say about Ultimate Warrior that he was like a short term character. Like he was a character that would be around for that era, but then as the years went on, he wasn't going to have a lot of staying power, which actually turned out to be true considering all the times he came and went.
Yep, true. And yeah, especially after, when he won the title at WrestleMania, it was a great moment, but it just like after that, it just kind of tilted off just a little bit.
Yeah, he just wasn't Hogan. He was great. He had a lot to offer, but he was not the person for that spot.
Right.
And then, yeah, it was just never the same after that whole SummerSlam 91 situation. He came back a few times after that, but yeah, it was just never the same vibe after that.
Demanding money.
Well, from what I heard, that was money that was owed to him from WrestleMania 7.
Oh, okay, okay. I mean, you got to remember, the old saying was always two sides of the story. So,
Or no, three sides. One person's side, another person's side, and the truth.
oh, okay, that's a good one. Never, that is a good one. That is true. Never heard that one before, but yeah,
Yeah, but this is something we've heard about Ultimate Warrior before. A lot of people have always shitted on his wrestling skills. It's not anything new. And yeah, admittedly, his matches weren't the greatest. He wasn't the best wrestler by any stretch. Many people from that era have gone on to say, how sloppy he was, how unsafe he was, and not to mention, what they felt about him as a person.
dude. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Like that there is some truth to that because when I watch, more and more pay-per-views from that era, right? With Ultimate Warrior on the card, when I'm watching more of his matches, I'm kind of like, yeah, there's a little bit of sloppiness in his matches, man. To the point where I was like, man, is he like, it's like he's hurting his opponents a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. I watched this match that he had with Mr. Perfect in Madison Square Garden, and yeah, that whole time I was just saying to myself, like, "Damn, I feel so bad for Perfect right now. This dude's looking like he's suffering, fucking suffering."
Yeah, just not. I don't know. I don't know what's the right word. It's like he's not. It's like you're not being gentle, being careful of what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, how big of a star and how big of a character he was during that era is definitely a part of his legacy. But also at the same time, like that other stuff about like him not being the best wrestler, him being unsafe, and him having the issues with other wrestlers, and also the falling outs that he had with Vince over the years. Those are also a part of his legacy too.
Right. Right.
But I feel like what he said about Ultimate Warrior is kind of playing into his feud with Miz.
True.
Makes sense. Yeah, but with all that stuff aside, Ultimate Warrior was definitely a big deal for those years he was. His peak might have been relatively short, but most people don't have peaks like Ultimate Warrior did.
No. And prior to WrestleMania 6 with his match with Hogan, like everybody was looking at him as like, okay, this could be like the next guy. That's why everybody was saying when he won the title, that lasting moment of Hogan and Warrior, shaking hands and hugging each other. That was kind of like everybody was saying how that was like the passing of the torch moment. So at that time, they thought, oh, Warrior's gonna be the next guy. But later on, as it turned out, oh no, we were wrong. No, yeah, we were wrong.
I remember one thing Hogan said about like people wanting his spot that stood out to me is that a lot of people want my spot, but a lot of people don't want and can't handle the responsibility that comes with it.
True, that is so true. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. It's a lot of responsibility if you want to be the top guy. Everybody, oh, I want to be the top guy and all that stuff. Well, there's a lot of weight involved in that, man. There's like a lot of stuff and behind all of that you have to play into, you got to put into in order to uphold that responsibility, man. Like heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, and Hogan did that shit for years. From
Yeah, dude.
wrestling, the personal appearances, the charity stuff, autograph signings, the movie appearances, talk show appearances, you name it, son. That dude was everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, and somebody like Ultimate Warrior, like he just wasn't meant for that spot. And also, when they tried to do it with Lex Luger, he also wasn't the right person for that spot either. Like
Huh.
that Lex Express shit, like everybody was saying, like, yo, why are you guys doing this with Lex? Lex is not a people person like that.
Oh, wow.
And like these are his friends, these are like people who like him, but they just know like his personality, especially back then. He was like not the type of person to like, want to hang out with a bunch of people and like shake hands and, pretend to be nice all the time. And yeah, that just wasn't him.
I see. I see. Yeah, man. Just
Not everybody can be in that spot. Like it's not just about talent. It's just about how you can handle being in that spot.
yep. Big polar opposites when you're like you're like a low card or a mid card guy compared to the main event guy.
Yeah, pretty much the whole success of the company rests on your shoulders.
Oh yeah, dude. And you're representing the company. You're you're the leader. So yeah.
And speaking of leaders of WWE, well, not so much anymore. Vince McMahon recently unloaded 8.4 million shares of the TKO stock, which equals to a total of $641,844,000.
So he's selling that, right?
He's selling some of his shares. Some of his shares he's selling, and that's a lot of fucking shares to sell.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was like trying to get into. I was like, he was sharing his sales. I was like, okay, yeah. So yeah, okay. Is there a reason?
Um, I told you a few weeks ago it was coming out that the people that Vince being a part of the whole TKO thing is like not really looking good because of his because of the allegations against him, and how like kind of maybe they might want him to step down eventually because of like the dark cloud he brings over them, and maybe he was doing it because of that, or maybe another scenario that Eric Bischoff was kind of like painting up was that maybe Vince did that to say like, yo, screw you guys, like he did that, he kind of did that maybe as a fuck you to them because the stock ended up going down because of that.
Ooh, okay. So you had no choice, right? I see what you mean.
Yeah, so it might have been like a move to stick it to them.
Wow.
Who knows with that guy though? Who knows? This is the same guy who finds sneezing as a sign of weakness.
Fire your ass at a board meeting because of that. Oh my god.
What a fucking weirdo, bro.
Oh, you're in a board meeting, you sneeze, and he gets upset about that.
Bro, would you really want to work for somebody like that?
No, nobody would. Everybody, come on. Everybody has allergies. Come on now. Like, damn it. Like, I know for a fact Vince sneezes. Like, Jesus. Like,
That's why so many people were happy when he stepped down.
yeah. Everybody feels like on it.
And also, for better or worse, for as much as Vince has accomplished and as much as he's done for wrestling, and that's also a part of his legacy, but also that kind of stuff of like him being that kind of boss, like the way he's done wrong by some people, that's also a part of his legacy.
Mm.
And so is that mustache.
Which he shaved off, by the way.
Oh,
Thank God. Yeah, he shaved it. I think him, Taker, and Kane were at was it a boxing fight? Yeah. And there was, pictures and photos of them. And yeah, Vince had shaved it, dude. So,
I mean, it's his face.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, no more of that. Dude, he looked like a freaking, like, mob boss, dude. So, yeah, no more of that.
Undertaker recently opened up about what would have happened if him and Sting ever faced off. You know, that face off we never got between the two. And this is what the dead man had to say. I'd have destroyed Sting. He'd have got a tombstone, brother. He's going out after I plant him. Yeah, it's too bad we never got that match. That one WrestleMania where they did Sting and Triple H, they should have done Sting and Undertaker. That would have been a much better idea. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, because they just could not get over that whole WWE versus WCW Monday Night Wars bullshit. Like throughout that whole story, that's all they were talking about. And granted, the match was still fun, like with the NWO and DX shenanigans, but yeah, bro, like they were like just shoving it down our throats back then.
Yeah, it was just, yeah, you're right.
I heard they were supposed to do that match in 2011. Like Sting was supposed to come in 2011, but then he decided
Yes.
to re-sign with
Yes.
TNA, and so it didn't happen.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. That would have been the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, that would probably been the best time to do it because Undertaker was still relatively in his. Undertaker could still go, like even if he wasn't wrestling as much anymore, he could still have those quality matches.
Yep.
And Sting was also younger, so yeah, it would have been the perfect time. But unfortunately, it did not work out.
Wow. It is what it is. So,
All right, but before we get out of here, let's break down some old Survivor Series moments that are some of our favorites that stand out the most to us.
yes.
What was your favorite Survivor Series debut?
Ooh. There's three that come to my mind. My top two, it's between Undertaker and Sting. I'm gonna start off with Sting. Like, look, I never or anybody else at that time would expect Sting ever to be in a WWE. And then when he showed up, it's just what he did and that impact was just like, wow, like I can't believe that he's actually here. You know what I mean? And it was shocking, man. And I remember I was interning for a soccer team. I remember it was like kind of like late at night, and I went inside the building, and then like my friend was like watching Survivor Series on the computer, and he was like, "Dude, Sting showed up and all that stuff." So it was very monumental. But like I said, man, like I have to give it up to Undertaker. Just enough said. Like the impact that he made that night, and you knew what was bound to come for for his whole entire career. So Undertaker's my favorite, but Sting showing up in 2014, oh my god, that was shocking, unexpected.
Yeah, it was a great debut. Although we weren't fans of what happened afterwards, still was a great debut on that night. But I will say overall, I will also pick Undertaker's because of like how dominant he was in that match, and also for the run he would go on to have for the next 30 plus years. And also that was the very first like major debut in Survivor Series history. They kind of set the tone for the ones we're talking about now.
Right.
Yeah, that Undertaker debut was definitely memorable. That was also the first Survivor Series I ever watched from start to finish, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the 1991.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'll pick Undertaker also. The Rock's debut was dope also. Like, it was his first match, and then he ended up being the sole survivor.
Yeah, and it was in Madison Square Garden too. So yeah.
Yeah, and then Angle's debut in '99, like when he turned heel in the middle of the match.
I don't. That's what that's one Survivor Series that I refuse to watch. That's just like that. I avoid that one like the plague. I do not want to watch that one. I'm sorry. I cannot watch it. And the fact that that event was in Detroit in the Joe Louis Arena, which is, was a very famous arena. Damn, it couldn't live up to the hype, man. And I think the whole Austin getting hurt and all that stuff, that just it really just it made it worse. So I avoid that event. Oh, damn.
Yeah, we spent way too much time even talking about it, but I would have
Yeah.
never thought that like when Angle was doing those vignettes going into his debut, that he would have turned out to be one of the hottest heels in the company within 1 year and have the run that he had within that first year with that too. Holy
Ooh,
shit, man.
oof.
And who can never forget the Shields debut in 2012?
Oh yeah, and literally it was just the anniversary of, a couple days ago. Crazy.
Yeah, and 10 years later, pretty much all three of those dudes run the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roman's a champion, Seth's a champion, Moxley's been a champion multiple times in AEW. And
Yep.
yeah, bro, who would have ever thought when they debuted on that night that they would all go on to have the runs that they did?
Would not expect that. It's just like whenever you make a debut at Survivor Series, you kind of know that like your career is kind of like is gonna be set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, that debut for the Shield coming into the company, that was a huge shot in the arm for them that they really needed.
Yeah.
Moving on to another category, what's your favorite Survivor Series elimination match? Just traditional Survivor Series match.
Wow. Um, you know what? It's 2003 between Team Austin and Team Bischoff. I I hated the ending. It was heartbreaking because we knew the stipulation of if Austin's team lost, then he was gone, and if Bischoff lost, and Austin could just do whatever the hell he wants. But the fact that Sean was like the last guy left for Austin's team. It was like what 1-on-4 was a 1-on-3, and the fact that he was able to last that long and it looked like he was going to win that match, but he lost that match because of Batista. We already know what happened, but it was a heartbreaking ending, but at the same time, my God, that match was great. It was a great match to watch.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved the fact that that match had like so much stakes going into it. The only issue I had was that match should have gone on last on that show.
You wanted it for that ending?
I get it, but that was the main match people came to see on that show. It was not Goldberg and Triple H.
I know, but uh,
Because I know as a fan watching that show, I was like, yo, that's the match I'm waiting to see. That is the match I want to see.
true.
And yeah, it was a fun match and lived up to the expectations. That ending was a huge punch to the gut.
Yeah. Oh my
But
God, I can't.
but the one thing that match was the start of Randy Orton being Mr. Survivor Series.
True.
Yeah, and also the first of 3 straight years where he'd be the sole survivor. So we would have never
Yep.
had that had Austin's team won that night.
Exactly.
I mean, it's weird that Austin ended up coming back a month later anyway, but
Sheriff Austin.
yeah, Sheriff Austin. Yeah, but on
Uh,
this night they really sold it that he was gone. Like they really sold the shit out of it.
yeah, dude. I was like, what the hell, dude? I was like, uh,
I will say my favorite Survivor Series match overall, I gotta say, the Team Cena and Team Authority from 2014.
that was a good one.
That match was crazy.
Good match. I love the stipulation and the ending.
Yeah, the way it started, even when like Big Show eliminated Mark Henry in the first 30 seconds, and then like in the middle of the match, Big Show turns on Cena, and then Cena gets eliminated by Rollins, and then Big Show just gets himself counted out, and then Ziggler's
John Cena. I'm sorry. Two things. John Cena getting eliminated that early, like when in the middle of the match, was shocking. I was not expecting that. Like, dude, Cena, like he's the leader of his team and he gets eliminated. Was not expecting that. The fact that Dolph Ziggler was the sole survivor, that was like, oh my God. He was like, that's crazy though. Like, so many unexpected things in that match, dude.
So Ziggler was like down one person to 3, and then he eliminates Luke Harper, then he eliminates Kane, and then it's down to him and Rollins, and then Triple H interferes as Ziggler's about to win. He like attacks the referee, and that crooked referee Brad Armstrong, I think his name was, came out to try to count the pin for Triple H, and then as he was about to do it, the lights go out, and then it's motherfucking Sting making his very
Yep.
first WWE appearance, comes out, attacks the crooked ass referee, lays Triple H out with a scorpion death drop, and then puts Ziggler on top of Rollins to get the win for Cena's team and banish the Authority for 1 month.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, look, the way they did everything afterwards and like the aftermath of all of this was mad whack, and we can, criticize it all day long. But on this night, the
Yep.
way they pulled it off from the start of that match to the finish with Sting's debut and then the Authority crying afterwards after they lost, yo, it was gold.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect storytelling. I need to rewatch that match again. So
One of the best Survivor Series moment matches and like endings in recent memory.
I see. I agree.
Favorite Survivor Series title change?
Oh my God. Shawn Michaels winning the World Heavyweight Championship in Elimination Chamber in 2002. Oh my God.
Okay, I fucks with that.
Dude, first ever Elimination Chamber match, Madison Square Garden. Look, you make your comeback at SummerSlam. Yeah, you did win, but the ending was just heartbreaking. You get hit by a sledgehammer. And you kind of like, as a fan, like, damn it, you don't want to see that. You kind of want Shawn to like rise on top in the occasion. And he did that night in Madison Square Garden. Loved it. And with the confetti coming down, like, bro, like, you come back into wrestling after 4 years from back surgery. You change your whole life around, and then you get to be the top guy again, even though it only lasted for a month. But the fact that him holding up the title with all the confetti, and, everything that he's went through over the past 4 years, I love that.
Yeah, it was a great moment. I would maybe pick that one too, but I might have to go with Brett beating Diesel in 95.
Okay, yeah, you love that match. You absolutely love that match. I love that match too. The spot, I can't get over the spot when Diesel knocks Brett into the announce table outside the ring.
First time it ever
Um,
happened. First time it ever happened in WWE.
yeah, and Just the finish, the fit. Oh my god, the finish of the match was crazy too. Diesel's about to go for the jackknife powerbomb, but then Bret Hart counters it into inside cradle for the pin, and Diesel just lost it after that. Like, holy crap, dude! Like, that was crazy. That's another match that I like. That's why I always like to go back to '95. Taker debuted with the mask, and then also with the main event. So, yeah.
Also, the opening match in that show was fun too.
Ah,
Yeah, but Bret winning the way he did was just out of nowhere. And then you could see Diesel say the words motherfucker right after he gets pinned. And then he just fucking
yeah,
lays Bret out with like 3 jackknives and beats up the referees. Shit was fucking
yeah,
crazy, son. But even though Bret got laid out the way he did after the match, I was still happy that he was the champion again. And that's all that mattered.
yeah, yeah. You saw the video that I sent you a couple days ago, where Diesel and Brett had that split screen face to face interview.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the Monday before. I remember that shit.
Just shows you how like important the match was. I like that. So
Yeah, for as whack as the WWE product was in '95, this Survivor Series, specifically that main event, was top notch.
I see. I agree.
Yeah, and other honorable mentions for title changes that were good was Sid beating Shawn the next year in '96.
Shocking.
I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed that title change.
You did? How the way it ended, dude, you hit freaking like Sid hits his Lothario with the camera. And the crowd was pro Sid. That was crazy too.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the crowd was pro Sid even with doing that. And yeah, when he won at the end, he got a nasty pop.
Right. I'm telling you, the New York crowd could be a little sneaky at times, dude. Like who are they cheering for?
And to think it was supposed to be Vader in that spot.
Yeah, but the way he screwed up at SummerSlam, dude, they kind of that's wow, dude.
And although it's not a title change, another memorable one was The Rock when he won the title in '98. The way that all went down.
Oh my god. That whole thing was just that whole night. No. The whole week was a setup. The whole week leading up to it was a whole setup, Kurt. Oh my god. And that's one of my favorite Survivor series. That whole thing was a whole damn setup. You're thinking that, oh, like The Rock could be the guy and win it, but Austin's in it, and then like Vince screws Austin. Well, Shane screws Austin when we all thought Shane was was all good and all that, but the whole entire time he's in cahoots with Vince. And then at the end of the night, you're thinking that Vince and Mankind are like, oh, cool with each other, but the whole entire time, The Rock was in cahoots with Vince. Oh my god, that whole week and that whole entire night was just chaos, crazy.
Yeah, it was very well done, that angle when Shane screws Austin.
Very well.
And then when
And that was a
Vincent.
Vince Russo. Vince Russo was behind all that, dude.
Yeah, that's why so you got to give Vince Russo credit where it's due because he was one of the masterminds behind that whole angle with that. And then when Vince and Shane pretend to leave the arena so that Austin will chase them, but they're really not gone from the arena, then they come out for the main event and then they screw Foley and
Yeah.
do like a Montreal screw job part 2. And then they both
Oh,
hug Rock and then Rock's a bad guy
yeah.
now. And then they attack Foley. Yeah, shit was fucking insane. I went from loving The Rock to hating The Rock within a span of 1 minute.
Right. But I'm telling you, man, that whole like build up, like from the week, you could say like 2 weeks prior almost, you know what I mean? And going into that night and the whole night, it was just wow.
And I'll also rank that, getting into another category, I'll also rank that for my most shocking Survivor Series moment. I would say that and Goldberg beating Brock in 90 seconds.
Yeah, dude. I was not expecting the match to be that short. That wow. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I thought it was just going to be a one and done and Brock was just going to win. But then when it went down that way, like that fast, I'm like, what the fuck? This shit just started and it's already over?
Right.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that kind of outcome. But I will say, back then, like when they did that match with Goldberg and Brock, you were still, like on the Goldberg nostalgia trip. Like that's when it was still good. Like that's when he still had that aura to him. Like he would just came back. He had been gone for so long. So yeah, that aura was still there. And then for them to just have him beat Brock the way they did like that, it's like, yo, there's actually some shit they could be doing with this. Because it kind of felt like the old Goldberg from WCW doing the
I
match.
agree.
Yeah, it felt exactly like the WCW Goldberg.
I agree.
Yeah, that match alone was better than anything Goldberg did in that whole WWE run that he had in '03.
Oh yeah, his second run, I that one, and then the match he had with Lesnar at WrestleMania, a few
Yeah.
months after. So yeah,
And also kind of shocking, also tying into a title change, Undertaker beating Hogan in '91.
yeah. I have one, but I'll speak on Taker and Hogan. That was crazy, though, and then the grave is challenged. That was the tagline for that event. Um, yeah, dude, because you're a kid. You always expect Hogan's the top guy. Oh, Hogan's always gonna beat the bad guy and all that stuff. It didn't turn out to be like that. That was the first time where we actually saw not necessarily a babyface Kurt, but you see a guy like Hulk Hogan lose the world title to a bad guy, not just any bad guy, but to the Undertaker. That you wouldn't expect that to happen. And I get it, Ric Flair interfered, but still, you don't see that. You don't see stuff like that. Bro, this is 1991. You don't see stuff like that. That was shocking. That was a very monumental moment for Undertaker. Like a year prior to that, you make your debut at the Survivor Series, and then a year later, you win the world title against Hulk Hogan. Crazy.
And even though he didn't hold the title for long, only 6 days, the fact that he was able to beat Hogan for the title at a big show, that
Yeah.
showed you that he was on his way.
Hell yeah, dude.
And also crazy, the very first Survivor Series title match.
Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah, because prior to that, all their matches were just team elimination matches, but they finally they changed the whole tradition a little bit, and I liked it. You have to have like I believe that you have to have your mixture of both. Have a little bit of your team matches, but have that one world title match. They make the balance things out. I like that.
Yeah, because the whole like every match being a Survivor Series match thing was getting stale by that point. So it was good that they
True.
started switching it up this year.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Shocking title switch for me, Kurt. Brock Lesnar versus Big Show 2002. Holy, was not expecting Brock Lesnar to lose in that fashion.
I was.
At that time, bro. Like at that time, he like dominated the Big Show. Looked like he was gonna win, and next thing you know, Paul Heyman of all people turns on Brock Lesnar. This whole year, you're behind Brock Lesnar. You're calling him the next big thing. Everything that he did, and you turn on him. That was like at that time, I was like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah, but in hindsight, I don't know if that was a good idea.
Oh, having Big Show to win.
That and also splitting up Brock and Heyman. And yeah, Big Show being
Uh,
the first person to beat Brock.
yeah. I mean, who do you think should have been the first guy to beat him?
That's a good question. I think Angle could have been that guy.
If Lesnar was still heel?
Yeah, they could have done that. Yeah, Angle could have been that guy.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know what would have been better between what they did that night or if like Brock had actually fought Hogan like they originally planned.
Oh, yeah. And then they could have did that, and then Kurt could have beat Lesnar the following month.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but it is what it is. Yeah, there's been a lot of crazy ass shocking Survivor Series moments, and probably the most shocking, we already know, we talked about it on our last episode, the Montreal screw job.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, we won't dabble into this one too much, but yeah, that was just a night I'll never forget. Just the way that show went off the air and the way that whole thing played out. Yeah, you just sat there confused once that show was over and like all that shit went down. You were like, "What the fuck did I just
Right.
watch?"
Right.
Yeah, it was odd.
Crazy.
One of the most odd and weirdest nights probably in all my years of watching wrestling.
Yeah. Freaking crazy.
Most shocking elimination.
Um, okay, it's somewhere down the line in 2005 between Team Raw and Team SmackDown when Big Show got eliminated. You had Big Show and Kane on Team Raw. But I literally thought Raw was going to win that match. That whole team was stacked. You had Michaels, Chris Masters, Carlito, Kane, and Big Show. I was just surprised that Big Show got eliminated. It's that one.
You're shocked he got eliminated, or you shocked at who eliminated him?
I got shocked he got eliminated. Period.
He's been eliminated from those matches before.
Yeah, I'm really trying to think of something else. I think John Cena from 2014 was shocking because he's the team leader. He gets eliminated in the middle of the match. I was like, the hell.
Yeah, that was a shocking one. One I'll throw in, and it happened at the very first Survivor Series. Hogan's elimination in '87.
Oh right, against Team Andre.
Yeah, and he got counted out of all things too. He's like fighting King Kong
Oh,
Bundy and one man gang outside of the ring, and then he fucking gets counted out.
right.
Nobody back then would have called that shit. Nobody would have
No,
called that shit.
no, no, nobody.
Yes, that was a shocking one. Also, when Benoit eliminated Brock in '03, that one also caught me by
Oh
surprise.
yeah, that was. I remember that, and I remember at that time I thought, okay, cool, they could do like a feud between Benoit and Lesnar. I'm kind of like sad that he never did that.
I am too, but when he made Brock tap in that match, that's when I knew Benoit would more than likely get the title. Like from that point on, I could like feel that he was gonna probably get the title soon.
Yeah, like towards the end of 2003, that's when they really started to push Benoit.
Yeah, that's where I was starting to feel like, yeah, I think he's probably gonna get the title now.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that was a shocking elimination. Yeah, the Cena one in 2014 goes without saying.
yeah.
I want to like pick a more recent one, like a more recent one.
Right.
Also, the way Kofi eliminated Randy Orton and CM Punk in 2009, how he like eliminated both of them back to back. Yo, that was also something nobody saw coming.
I don't remember. So I didn't watch that Survivor Series because I stopped.
I didn't really watch it either. I wasn't watching at the time, but I've heard about it. Like people have talked about it before, and
Okay.
yeah, it was crazy. He
Oh,
eliminated. It was like yeah, Kofi was like down 2-1 against him, and then he eliminated them both like within 30 seconds, and he was the sole survivor.
ooh, wow. Real quick, all-time favorite Survivor Series event.
2002, 2002, 1995 is a close second.
Same. '02 and a close second is '03, and then I'll as a runner up, I'll put 2019.
2019 was a good one. Also, 1988 is a good one.
Yeah.
'03 was solid.
Yes.
2016 was also pretty good too. That match was also great. That Raw versus SmackDown match that year, that match was fucking incredible.
Yeah, that's when they brought it back for the first time in in like what 11 years. So I love that. So
Yeah, that's when Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton were the sole survivors.
right.
Damn, I can't believe Bray's not here anymore.
Yeah, I know.
All right, but last category, favorite Survivor Series performance from like somebody in a Survivor Series match. Favorite performance.
Okay, there's two that comes to my mind. So Shawn Michaels from 2003, and again, this is what I said earlier. It was like what, one on like four for God's sakes, and he almost won the damn thing, even
It was
though
one
he
on three,
lost.
but
Yeah, 1-3. Yeah, yeah. I got to rewatch that one again though. But yeah, 1-3, and he almost won the damn thing. That would have been monumental. And he was bleeding for goodness sakes. Let's not forget that, guys. He was busted open.
yeah, he was bleeding bad. He was bleeding bad.
Yeah. So he almost won, but that performance that he did was just absolutely amazing. Number two, I think out of all three straight Soul Survivors moments from Orton, his 2004 one stuck out to me a lot because again, he was like the only one down and he was able to win. And the fact that what was on the line, I mean, it wasn't a whole lot. Oh, you get control of Raw, but the fact that he won and the fact that he eliminated Triple H, that was a favorite performance of mine.
Okay. I'll say Sean in '03 is definitely one of them. Dolph
Yeah.
Ziggler in 2014, that was also a great performance.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
One that people don't talk about enough, Diesel in '94.
I got, you know what is so funny? You bring up 94 because I just finished watching 89, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Jesse Audi Ventura was dressed as a pilgrim, and that brought me back like, oh my god, freaking Gorilla Monsoon and Vince McMahon were dressed up as cowboys in '94. So whenever you mention about '94, I'm thinking about the whole Western theme that they did. I was like, oh my god, like that was just funny to me.
First WWE pay-per-view I watched live.
Wow. I mean, what do you thought it was funnier, Jesse Ventura dressed as a pilgrim, or Vince and Gorilla Monsoon dressed up as cowboys?
Jesse's.
As a pilgrim, that was funny. I
Yeah.
thought that was funny though. Yeah,
He called himself Jesse the Pilgrim Ventura.
yeah. Plymouth Rock, Lord.
Yeah, Diesel's performance in '94 was beastly. He eliminated pretty much almost all of Razor Ramon's team, and then him and Sean got into it again, and then like ended up,
Oh
and then
man,
him, Sean, and the rest of the team all got counted out.
yeah,
Shit was crazy, man.
that was
But yeah,
crazy.
that was the start of his babyface turn. I mean, say what you want about the
Yeah,
title reign, but that was the start of
yeah.
all of it.
Oh yeah,
And also him and Sean's feud going into Mania the next year.
yep. Solid.
Also, Batman Bigelow's performance in '87 in that Hogan and Andre match was good. He was down 3-1 and he cut it down to 1-on-1 before he ultimately fell to Andre. Yeah, performance was solid.
Um, Worst Survivor Series event.
Worst Survivor Series event. Well, before we get into that, I want to get into a few more performances that was like really stood out. Undertaker's in '95 was pretty beastly when he showed up with that mask and like eliminated the whole team within like a minute.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that
yep.
performance was beastly.
Yep.
And I thought The Rock did good in his debut in '96.
Yeah, he was still Survivor for that one.
Yeah, for his first fucking match.
Yep.
Roman Reigns in 2013, although not a good Survivor Series, that performance was very, very crazy and very fucking memorable.
I forgot about that one. That was a very good one. You really started to see when I saw that. That's when we started to see Roman could be taken seriously in singles competition.
He eliminated 4 out of the 5 people on the opposing team. Shit is fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
but you know what's so funny? We have not said not one thing about 2001.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's also one of the best Survivor Series matches. The Team WWE
That,
against Team Alliance.
oh God, both of those teams were stacked. Good Lord.
Yeah, look, that invasion storyline was mad whack. It definitely didn't live up to its expectations, but the
Oh,
blow off to it in this match was fucking great.
yes.
But it's so crazy. Our WWE versus WCW ECW team, half of the people on the WCW ECW team were WWE people.
Right. That was so weird because Angle like that. Oh my God, that was just so weird how they did things.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this poster the other day about like what that match should have been if they played the cards right, and it should have been Austin, Rock, Undertaker, Kane, and Triple H against Hogan, Sting, Goldberg, Hall, and Nash.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been a much bigger deal. Although I still enjoy this match. This match is still great. That would have been fucking epic if we got to see that match.
I always ask myself what would have, Triple H's role would have been if he never got hurt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 2001 was just a weird year. I don't want to call it bad because there was definitely a lot of good from it. But yeah, it was just definitely, you could like definitely tell there was a decline compared to 2000.
Of course. Of course.
But regardless of what you think of that invasion storyline, that match was fucking fun.
Yes.
Star power out the ass.
Oh my God.
And then it comes down to Rock and Austin, and then Angle screws Austin, and then The Rock pins him to kind of avenge what happened at WrestleMania. And one of the best parts of the show was that the fact that Heyman the whole night was talking shit to Jim Ross, telling him, oh, you're going to get fired. Oh, you're going to lose your job. Oh, you're going to be unemployed. And then right when that match ended, like he just dropped his headset and didn't have shit to say.
Nope. That was the funny thing.
Yeah, he was talking all that shit the whole night. And then like right when that match ended, yeah, he was fucking speechless.
Right.
And then JR was like, yeah, you guys didn't win. Kurt Angle fucked you guys over. So who's unemployed now, motherfucker? But that also a bittersweet thing of that night. That would be the last time we would see the JR and Paul Heyman commentary team.
They did really well with each other. I like that duo.
Yeah, it's not the same as JR and Jerry Lawler, but that team was still great regardless.
It was.
So best Survivor Series performance, I will go with Shawn in 03. Even though he didn't win, that performance like really sucked you in where like you were saying, fuck, he has to win. He has to pull it off. He has to pull it off. And the way it ended like that, yeah, it was just a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it was. You got one more maybe to get into before we go because I got to get ready for work.
Yeah, I got you. I think you asked me like what I thought was the worst Survivor Series show.
Yeah.
It's
99 for me.
Yeah, 99 was pretty whack. I'm not gonna lie. 99 sucked, but I'll probably have to go with 93. I'll go with 93.
Oh my god, I've never even watched 93. I don't even want to. Oh god,
it's not good, especially the 4 doinks against Bam Bam Bigelow's team. That shit is so bad, so bad. The only memorable thing on that whole show was the start of the angle between Bret and Owen. Oh, and also Bobby Heenan's commentary during that match too was funny as fuck. Funny enough, this is actually his last pay-per-view before he went to WCW.
Oh damn.
They did the angle where he left, like I think maybe 2 weeks later on Raw.
You know, as for a runner-up, as worst was 2008. That Jesus.
Also in Boston, yeah. Also in Boston, yeah. There were 3 Survivor Series that were in Boston that were 3 of the worst Survivor Series ever, and they finally broke the curse last year with the WarGames.
All because of WarGames.
Yeah. And last year's show was fun too. Last year's both WarGames matches delivered.
Yeah.
And hopefully this weekend Survivor Series delivers as well, as good, if not better than last year's. And yo, I can't wait, bro. I can't wait.
Same here. Chicago. Come on now. Chicago never disappoints with their wrestling shows. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the WarGames matches and the return. Well, okay. I said most of the time. Most of the Chicago shows.
Okay. Because I was going to say, as great as that Bret and Austin match was at WrestleMania 13, the rest of that show was not so great.
I know, but most. You get my griff.
Yeah.
But the crowd never disappoints. But anyway, I'm looking for both WarGames matches, all of it, just like Thanksgiving, and looking forward to Randy Orton, man. So I can't wait.
I can't wait either. I can't wait for vegan Thanksgiving, my 10th year cooking Thanksgiving dinner as a vegan. That shit is going to be fucking fire. And also Survivor Series, also the start of the holiday movie season. I will be starting tomorrow.
That's right.
First on my docket is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Because that's actually a Thanksgiving movie. It's not a Christmas movie. It's a Thanksgiving movie.
I just heard that Spider-Man is considered a Thanksgiving movie now.
Nah. There was one scene where they had Thanksgiving dinner.
I know what they're saying. That's what they're saying. I know. That's like the only holiday they did in that whole entire movie. So they were saying it's considered a Thanksgiving movie. I was like, all right.
Die Hard, you can make the case for being a Christmas movie because of the fact that it takes place during Christmas Eve. But fucking Spider-Man, there's one like 3-minute scene where they're at Thanksgiving dinner. Fuck out of my face.
I didn't say that. They said that.
I know. I just felt like saying fuck out of my face. Oh yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You should check that shit out. Yeah, it's crazy. It's one of the few holiday movies that's actually rated R.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Kind of sad in certain parts, but it's good. Rest in peace to John Candy.
Okay.
All right, so enjoy Survivor Series. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Be safe. Have a good time. Hope you keep good vibes around you. And even if, your life isn't the way you like it to be or perfect or, where you want to be per se, there is still something to be thankful for through all of that. And the more you can count those things on your hand and the more you can focus on those things, trust me, you will be a lot better off. So happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Have a good one, guys. And remember, don't be an asshole in real life or social media because that shit is for the birds. So for John Randall, this is Kurt Cadet, a.k.a. Conscious Kurt, for another edition of Clash of the Champions. And we will see you guys next time. Take care.